Welcome to the Keep the Faith podcast. I am your host, Tori, and I have with me Mr. Deon Campbell. He only has his first name up there, but it's Mr. Deon Campbell with Man to Man. And today we're going to be talking about the importance of fathers. Now, before we get into all of that, Mr. Campbell, tell us a little bit about yourself and tell us a little bit about what you do at Man to Man.
Sure thing. Well, hello, Ms. Tori. Thank you for allowing me this time to share with you on your podcast. And before I jump in, I want to say that you're doing an amazing job and some amazing work on your podcast. I've seen some past programs you've done and podcasting, and you're really doing a lot for your podcasting for the community, for everybody. So I just want to just say hats off to you before we even get started on my little part. So I'm just honored to be a part of your podcast, and thank you so much for thinking of me to be a part.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Well, a little bit about me. I'm Deon. I'm from Mullins, big city of Mullins, right in South Carolina, and I'm a director of program operations for a nonprofit organization called Man to Man Fatherhood, where we provide the means for fathers to become better dads, and just being there to let that father know that he's important to families, to his children, and to be a part of the everyday life of his children as they're growing up and growing into young adults and even into adulthood. So that's what we're focusing on at Man to Man Fatherhood. A little history about Man to Man. It started in the year of 2000. So, Tori, we're going on roughly 23 years servicing fathers and families for 23 years in the PD area at Man to Man. I've been there since 2014. And it's gratifying for me because I enjoy helping fathers to re-engage back with their kids and families and just being a part of their children's lives. And those fathers that are looking for job skills or going back to school, we're able to assist with those fathers. And that makes the whole atmosphere and the environment very gratifying to me and for those that are on our team and staff to help those families build, because we believe that if we have strong families, then we'll have strong communities.
Absolutely. And I totally agree. And I love the program. I've met some amazing some of your colleagues that work with you at Man to Man. And you guys
Mhm.
are amazing. So kudos to what you guys do as well.
Thank you so very much.
I see Miss Kay Cooper's coming and said, good afternoon. What's up, Kay, Kimberly Jeanette?
What's
And
up, Miss Cooper?
thank you for joining. And basically, let me ask you this question. Because I've been knowing you for a long time.
Yeah.
What we met back in 2006?
Jesus. Yeah, because we actually did radio back on your
Yeah.
radio days. So that's been a minute. So
You know what? You ain't
2006.
had to, listen, you ain't had to say it like that. It's been a minute. Like,
Yeah.
anyway.
I ain't trying to disclose ages now, okay?
Well, we have actually been knowing each other since 2006. Let me ask you, because when we met, you was doing something different. So what is the one thing that actually attracted you to the Man to Man fatherhood program?
I think the biggest thing for me, Tori, was the fact that I grew up with my father and still fortunate and blessed today to still have my father. So I think that it hit home to me to really share and to explain and to showcase and display to other fathers that haven't been fathers that this is what fatherhood looks like. And with my daughter now that I'm a father, I find myself doing some of the same activities and games and little life lessons learned. I'm teaching my daughter the same things that my father taught me growing up when I was a kid. So it's very heartfelt for me because it becomes personal because I grew up with my father, and I have a big heart for those guys that didn't grow up with their father, but they're in this fatherhood game. So that's the biggest part that I have. So it's more of like a passion work for me, and all of the staff at Man to Man. We all are fathers, and we wear it, proudly on our chest. That's why I have my hat on today. It says Man to Man fatherhood. So it's gratifying again.
True. So let me ask you this question. In your own words, why are fathers so important? Because I actually called this segment the importance of fathers, and I also stated that fathers are just as important and valuable as mothers. What exactly, why do you think that why are fathers so valuable and so important?
Good, very good question. We have a thing in the office that we love to live by and say that, it's it's the mother that gives the first birth, but it's the father that gives a second birth. And with that second birth, that father is going to let that child know and give that child their true identity, who that child could be, and also learn with life lessons that the child will be faced with. So that father is going to give that child confidence, become risk takers, and that's all a part of the second birth that we love to talk about and stress around the office. Yeah, it's that mother that gives that nurturing. So the child is receiving nurturing love and care from the mom from the first birth throughout, but it's that father that's going to give that second birth, and that's going to be where the teachings and the hard grinding and the come on, you can do it, son, and daughter, you can do this and you can do that, and you can be whatever you want to be. Mom will be if we're you're at home and you got your 2 year old or 3 year old up on the table somewhere. Mom will be so frightened and God, get down, get down. I'm like, Tori, get down, get down. I can imagine you saying it to your son, and any mother, because that's the nurturing side of the mother. Whereas flip side, the father is going to say, come on, son, jump off that table. I got you. Come jump. But it's teaching that son how to take risk in life. So that a big difference, the importance of that fatherhood.
Okay, let me ask you this question. How important or does it make a difference as opposed to being raised, whether you are a little boy or little girl? How important is it because we're talking about the importance of fathers, and I don't want to go too far into because we talked about this prior to going live. I kind of want to do a series. I'm like thinking out loud, but let me
Cool.
ask you this question. How important is it, or what are your thought process in regards to a two-parent household as opposed to a single-parent household? Like, of course, me personally, I am a single mother of a son.
Right.
Of course, I can instill morals and values, but I cannot teach my son how to be a man. And then, of course, there are single fathers that are raising daughters. They can do the same, but they cannot teach their daughter how to be a woman. So what is your thought process in regards to two-parent household as opposed to a single-parent household?
I think there's two folds to that question. I look up and I applaud to the single mothers or single fathers that are doing it on their own. Um, for as yourself, Tori, I applaud you of being a single parent because you're in position to be that parent. You're a mother, and you have to play the father. You're doing both roles. You being the mother and nurturing at the same time. You're teaching your child how to be that risk taker and to go and grab stuff in life and do things in the world and be successful. So you're doing both roles all at the same time. Whereas in a two-parent home, the mom is going to do that role and the father is going to play this role where the child is receiving from both ends versus receiving it all from one end. So I really hats off to you and to all the single parents that are out there and just doing the parenting thing all by yourself, the way you're playing both sides and being a true parent. So you're a double parent. I like to look at it like that. You're a double parent. Does it make a difference? In some ways, yes. When you look at certain aspects of teachings, like you just stated, certain things that we can teach um, daughters that a mom can teach even better, and vice versa. A mom can teach a son a few things, but a man can show him better. A father can teach his daughter a few things, but a mother can show her better. And kids learn by example and what they see.
And also, does it play how important when you're raising children? How important is it to monitor? Because my son had, and I asked this question because my son and I had this conversation. How important is it for you to monitor what they watch, what they listen to, and also not to micromanage, but also be concerned with who they call friends?
Absolutely, because we're in a new world now, so it's new day and time. Back when we grew up, we watched. We didn't have phones or tablets and all that stuff, so we didn't have nothing but the TV. Some black and white TVs or color TVs. Certainly didn't have flat screens and computers and all this good stuff that their kids have today. So when we grew up, Tori, with different strokes and Family Matters and Cosby Kids and all that good stuff. Whereas now the kids have the internet and access to the internet on their phone, and they're able to see across the world. So it's very important to monitor everything that your child is doing, even on the phone and tablets and texting and all that stuff, and just be a part of who they're in communication with and some of the things that they're doing. Also important to know their friends and who they're around and schoolmates, and everything is different now back from when you and I came. So it's a different world and a different time that we have to monitor literally everything now what our kids are doing.
And like you said, the world is different from when, like,
Absolutely, absolutely.
because back,
What were some of your shows that you grew up watching?
like you said, the Cosby Show,
Mm-hmm.
Family Matters,
Mm-hmm.
the Jeffersons,
Mm-hmm.
Good Times.
Mm-hmm.
And the television has actually changed as well because,
There
and
you
this is
go.
just me, I don't even watch TV
There
a
you go.
lot now because I don't see a lot of positive programming, and
There
that
you
makes
go.
the difference as well. The
There you go.
music is so much different. Like I monitor what my son listens to
Absolutely.
as well. So I'm like, what? And then the abbreviations that these young, I'm like, what are you talking about? And there are some words that they use that it has a different meaning
Right.
than what we had.
Absolutely.
You know what I
Totally.
mean?
I
Like
totally
some of the
agree.
words, I'm like, what are you talking about? And the way
Yeah.
the true definition is used in a totally different context. So I have to,
Right.
if I don't understand, I ask questions.
Right.
What does this mean?
Right.
Where did you get this from? And that type of thing.
That's
But
right.
I will say I am blessed. I have a good kid.
No,
So
again, awesome.
we have that open line of communication. And speaking of communication, how important is it for our children to be able to talk to us openly? Because we have to pay attention to when our kids are closed off, they're off to themselves, and they're not talking to us. How important is that open communication with the parent, especially their fathers? Because like I said, fathers are very important, very valuable.
Right. And I do a lot of workshops, and one of the main things in my workshops that I'm talking to parents is that you want to have open communication with your kids and being able to be there for your child. And that's the importance of, I tell these fathers that that's why you need to be a part of your children's lives so they can have their father, their mother to be able to talk to and communicate with of what's going on. And the biggest thing, Victoria, that I talk about and we share at the office is that be the parent of your child. Don't be their friend. You're not here to be their friend. You're here to be their parent, which is a total different thing. It's a total different world being a parent to your child versus being a friend to your child. A lot of people they want to be like, well, that's my best friend and we're friends. No, you're the parent. You're not their friend. You're the parent. So it's a big and it's a huge difference and that's going to decide and give you a better understanding of communication as well too, because from day one and as your child grows, let them know that you're the parent and let them know the type of communication that they have with you. No, I'm not one of your friends on the street. I'm your father. My communication is totally different than the communication with a friend.
Right.
We ain't buddies. I'm your father.
Right. Right. And I want to put this comment, this from Les Eccles. This is a great comment. Les says, I'm often careful when talking about the next generation's issues because our parents and grandparents said the same things about us. And that is so true because there are some things. I grew up in a very, very strict household. My mother was a single parent, but she was very strict. So listen, I was a little sneaky growing up. I'll just leave it at that. I was a little
No, you
sneaky.
weren't. No, you weren't.
I was very sneaky, very sneaky. And Les also says I'm not one of your little friends.
Exactly.
And
Hey, what's up, Les?
listen, and I tell my son that all the time, but the thing about it, me and my son, and I say this a lot, me and my son are in a great place now.
There you go.
But there wasn't that wasn't always the case. We had our little, little bumps in the road here and there, but
Hmm.
we're at a good
Yeah.
place. We're in a good place now, and it
Hmm.
takes patience. And this is what I want to say to fathers as well as mothers, but we were focusing on the fathers because it's Father's Day, so
There you
we want to focus on the father. But I would like to say this: as parents, we have to be very careful of what we say to our children. And I know me personally, if I say something, because we go through things in life,
go.
and
Right.
sometimes you can find yourself, you're going through something, and your child has no idea what you're
That's
going
right.
through.
That's right.
But because you're taking in all the things you're going through, sometimes you'll say things to your child and they didn't deserve it. So I know for me personally, if I yell or I say something to my son and I know I'm out of pocket, I'll
Right.
apologize.
There
So
you go.
be careful what you say to your children. Be careful of how you say it. Be careful of your tone and all of that. That makes a difference. And like I said, me personally, I noticed that I should not said my tone was wrong, and I apologize. Like Kadarius, I apologize. So
Right.
I want parents to understand there's certain things that you, and then of course, let me ask you this question. Since you're a father, how do you, and unless if you're still watching, what does this means to you when you hear people say that men and little boys are not supposed to cry? How do you feel about that when people say, because a lot of times, like say if my son was growing up and he fall, like, man, get up, man up. How do you feel about people saying that little boys and men are not supposed to cry? And as a parent, especially me as a mother, telling my son, man up.
I feel. I love that question. We get asked that a lot. Um, I don't think men. I'll put it like this. I'm gonna answer in two ways. I think men are not supposed to cry, and the reason I say that is because men are known to be the protector of the family. So the family, the mom, the kids, they need to see that they have a protector in that father, as in a man. And yeah, man up and do all this. Yeah, all that I agree. But also on the flip side, I believe that when that man, that father has some alone time, that he needs to go somewhere and release some feelings and emotion and cry out. I will do it on that when he's by himself, just so that his family will not see him. And it depends on the situation, but I'm just speaking in terms in general. No, you be a man, you be the protector for your family. You let them see that nothing breaks you down. And they have more confidence to know that they have a strong father. They have that protector. We grew up, our fathers, uncles, they didn't do none of that. We didn't see none of them crying. And they were men back in those days. And we go back to the how the world is changing and all this and stuff, and they're saying like it's okay for a man to cry, and yeah, to a certain degree, but not in front of his family. I agree personally. My opinion, he'd cry, let him go and do it on his own by himself. Don't let his family allow him to see that, because he is the protector of his family.
What about the little boys? You don't allow the little boys to feel, to express their emotions if sometimes they need to cry?
Absolutely, they can do that. They can express and cry, but they need to learn at the same time why they're crying. So the next time when they get that feeling, they'll know the difference and they'll have an understanding. But yeah, that's how they learn. That's how they learn.
Okay.
Yeah, especially as little boys coming up. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. But they cry. They're gonna learn growing up through life, and they'll learn and to become that protector from crying as a little boy.
Okay. So now you done made me think about another question. So you said that as a man, you don't cry, but if you need to cry, you go off alone to yourself. So here's another question I have for you. Like I told you before we went live, I said, I don't know what I'm going to ask you, but based on what you just said, another question just formulated in my head. So if you said that the man has to go off to himself to cry, okay, in a marriage or in a relationship, if it's you and your significant other, you and your wife, at some point, can that man allow himself to be vulnerable? Or maybe I shouldn't use the term vulnerable, but can you allow yourself to be actually to cry? Because to express yourself to your better half, can y'all do that?
Yeah,
Or
now
do
that's
you
different.
have to always cry alone?
No, now that's different. That's a different spin of what you're saying versus with your significant other. The man, he
Okay.
needs to be comforted and have that nurturing from that mother, from his wife. Yeah, that's fine. But
Okay.
what I was talking about in terms of showing that protection and that brave mentality, that man is in front of your family. So in front of
Okay.
your family, different than from your significant other, your wife and stuff. That's a little bit spin that's differently.
Okay.
What I was talking on terms as presenting to your family as the man and that protector for your family.
Okay, cool. Because I was thinking, I was like, wait a minute. So you can never cry in front of any. That's
Yeah, no,
okay.
no, no, no. I
I'm
ain't saying
glad you.
never cry because we're human too.
Okay.
We're
Okay.
human too. But
Okay. Thank you.
for the role of that father and that fatherhood,
Uh-huh.
standing up, being the firm and being a man and a man's man,
Hmm.
he's not going to do that in front of his family because he don't want his family to know that he's not that protector that they need to have within a home.
Okay. I got you.
So he
Thank
get
you
with
for
his
clarity.
wife. Yeah, he get with his wife, and he needs to let some emotion. Yeah, that's cool. He has some comfort, and that's where she's there for, just like he's there for her. So that's a little bit
Absolutely.
different spin. Hmm.
Okay. Thank you for clarifying because you had me thinking like, wait a minute. So okay, good. Thank you for clarifying, making
Oh
that
no,
clear.
no, no problem, no worries.
Okay, so the other question that I have for you, what if, especially with you being with man to man, a lot of times, because like I said, I'm gonna do probably a possibly a part two or part three of
Oh,
series,
cool.
but I want to focus, like we was talking about, I want to focus on the amazing fathers because there's so many amazing fathers out there that are
Right,
stepping up to the plate. There
right.
are amazing husbands. Now, where I have a soft place in my heart for men that step up to the plate to children that they have that are not there, that don't, they're stepping up into the plate for the biological in the biological father's absence. Now they really have a special place in my heart
Absolutely,
because it takes some
absolutely.
real, oh my God, for you to take care of a child that you did not create.
That's right.
That speaks volumes to
That's right.
me.
That's
And
right.
then, and here's the spinoff. Now, this is what me and Deon was talking beforehand. I said, I think we should do a series, meaning today we're focusing on the positive, amazing fathers, the fathers that show up for their kids, the amazing husbands, the amazing stepfathers, the uncles, the sons that are fathers, the grandpas that step up to the plate. But I also want to do a series as well. I want to talk to some men that have grown up without their father. And I also
Hmm.
want to talk to some of the youth that have grown up without their father. And I want to know how it's affecting them.
Hmm.
But the question I have, another question that I have is because there are a lot of men, there are a lot of single fathers as well. What do you say to that father? And I'm pretty sure you're faced with this on a daily basis. What do you say to that father that feels as if they're not enough? They feel as if they're not worthy and they want to throw in a towel and give up. What do you say to that father to encourage them to keep pushing, to keep going on? Because doing it by yourself is hard.
It
And
is.
some I've talked to some friends of mine that are single fathers. It gets rough.
Yeah.
And sometimes there's some things that we as women can handle that men can't handle. Sometimes men, y'all can be some big babies. So what do you say to those fathers that need that encouraging word, that want to give up? They don't feel like they're enough. They don't feel like they're worthy. And they don't feel like God has equipped them with the tools that they need in order to be a great parent, great father.
At man to man, we have a curriculum that we have and go by, and our program is based upon three major components. That's parenting, economic mobility, and healthy relationships. Under each component, we have 6 weeks of material that we cover and discuss in our peer group sessions that we meet weekly with all fathers that are in our program, and we're discussing all those topics and such as the question that you just stated and talking about. Um, and we're there to encourage that father when it gets rough. And he's coming at the peer group session with the fathers to get that encouragement from other peers that may be going through the same thing that he's experiencing. So we go through all those life lessons and stuff that they and the thing about fatherhood is that when fathers become fathers that they haven't been fathered themselves, it's a learning process for them. So it's a brand new thing. You know, a father that a guy that grew up without his dad, and now he's a father, and we see it every day at the office. Um, it's a learning. It's a new world to him. It's a learning thing. So we're teaching him how to get on the floor and play with Amy and play catch with Bobby. And we tell all of our fathers, listen, it ain't about the money and dollars just paying child support. And you went and got little man some Air Force Ones or some Jordans and think that's the end of the game. No, that's not fatherhood. That's not being a father. So we encourage them because a lot of them they're broken because they get to the point to where, and each situation is different. Where some feel that the moms are doing this and really weighing on them, and child support hitting them, and they just lost a job, or they can't do this, they can't provide for the kids, or they got another child on the way, and the list goes on and on. So a lot of times we do break down. We break down. We break down. So we find strength to give strength to those fathers to be encouraged to keep pushing, to keep going. This is what fatherhood is all about.
Absolutely. Now, one final question before we wrap it up, of course, and then I'm going to put you on the spot. So, so of course, June is Mental Health Awareness Month for men.
Right.
What is your take on the importance of a man protecting their mental health? But of course, there are some men that do not believe in therapy. What is your take on, because a man's mental health is very important, but a lot of men say, I don't need to talk to nobody. I don't need no. What is your take on therapy? Because
Yeah.
I'm a believer, and
Right.
I just firmly believe that, yeah, we pray,
Right.
but sometimes we got to pray and talk to somebody as well. But what do
Right.
you say to those men that may be struggling mentally, but they feel as if they're okay? They don't need no assistance,
Right.
and they don't feel like therapy is necessary. What do you say? What is your take on, going to get therapy and seeking help for your mental? Because sometimes you have to. Some people, it gets to the point where you have to take medication. But
Yeah,
what is your
absolutely.
take on those that are struggling mentally, but they don't believe in therapy?
In the past years, and serving fathers and helping guys, um, I'll say this: in 2019, Tori, at Man to Man, we served 496 fathers with 921 children out of the PD region that we serve. We serve 6 counties. So out of that 496, we might have maybe 10, 15 that can tell you if they had a relationship or if they know who their father is. And being a part of the experience of fatherhood. But the main thing about it is that men will be men. We're going to be men. Bottom line, we don't want to hear nothing about no doctor. We don't want to hear nothing about no therapy and all that good stuff, right? So what we do at Man to Man, we kind of indirectly talk about medical and mental with these guys. We don't let them know like, oh, yo, you need to go to the doctor. No, 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 no. You need therapy. No, no, no. We don't deliver the language like that to these guys because we're men. Men don't take information like that. We don't want you to tell us we need to go to the doctor until our toe fall off. Then we're gonna be like, where's the doctor? But it's just the mindset of a man. So at the office, we indirectly kind of come up with ways, and we see a guy that has mental issues. We're gonna inject some help in the back door, it's on the side that he's not even noticing that he's being helped. And we do on the medical side, we need to get the guys to the doctors. Well, we do health screenings at the office throughout the year, and we have a nurse practitioner that comes and like give guys screenings, and we're kind of indirectly seeing what's going on without even they being a part of the health screening that they know about. Yeah, we're gonna get gift cards and all that stuff like that. That's the part they're looking on. But what we're looking on is the flip side of it, and seeing his mental health and seeing the gray area that he needs and some medical attention. Where we've done major surgeries through the program. We've even assist fathers to get glasses that they needed glasses. We've also taken guys to get dental work, have cleanings, and all this stuff is through the program. But those are some of the nuggets that we do kind of indirectly because you just can't go up and tell the man you have a mental problem or you need to go see a doctor. Yeah. We're not receptive that way because we're men. So we our mentality is like we're built Ford tough or Chevrolet tough, and so we have to indirectly put a different spin on it to give him those services that they're not even aware, but they're receiving. And turns out we were doing it that way. He realized that he is helping himself before he even knows it.
Right.
So it's all about the delivery that we found over the years. Like, okay, we just can't tell these guys they y'all need to go see the doctor. No, we bring the nurse to the office and we just do like some football health screenings and just make it fun. So we're doing some fun, manly things, talking about the games and stuff, but at the same time, getting your blood pressure checked while we're talking about who won the championship last night. So it's a difference
Wow.
in indirectly of how we approach guys. And you have to approach men differently than you do with women.
That's good. I like that. I like that concept. That's good.
Yeah.
Okay, so my other thing is when I say I'm gonna put you on the spot, of course, it's Father's Day. So, what
Yep.
would you like to say to Reverend Curtis and any other men that may have been influential to you and help developing you into the man that you are today? Because I know he watches. So, talk to your Reverend Curtis, and like I said,
Reverend
any other
Curtis.
man.
Yeah, I appreciate my dad. Talked to him earlier today. We talk to him every day. Um, I appreciate him for instilling life values and morals what I have, and I'm still learning from him. Um, I'm 45 years old today, and I'm still learning. And I get all that from my dad and uncles and other elderly men that I talk to at the barbershops and my peers at even at Man to Man. We share a lot of stuff and we talk about a lot of things in life and we talk about how to be better fathers, how to be better men in the community, how we stand up for our children because our kids need us. They need us. Our mothers, ladies, they need the fathers. They need the guys. They need us. Just as God had a son, his name was Jesus, but Jesus needed his father. So it's life lessons that are learning that we grab and we gravitate to, we put it in our pockets and take along with us that we can share with our kids, our own kids. Like I stated earlier, the same games I remember when I was small and we used to play on the floor. My dad, I'm doing the same. I did the same thing with my daughter as she was coming up, and so forth and so on. Um, Also, in I would say 2017 or 18, I started driving. They asked me to drive school bus, so every morning I drive the school bus before I even go to Man to Man, and I see a lot of my kids, all my students. Okay, just say for example, this past year, I had one father that would bring his grandchild, to my bus every morning. One. So a lot of my kids that ride my bus, they're growing up without their father in the homes, and they're in those single parent homes, and some of them don't have the father in their lives, and they don't come to see about them at the schools, and or anything like that. So I found myself when I started driving at 18 because I love to be a part of the kids and talk to them because I was a child once. So I like to see how they think in conversations with them. So I teach my kids about respect. Every morning they get on my bus, we always say good morning, and I'm gonna call their name, or if I'm gonna say ma'am or sir to my student. And I have a whole when I pick up all my students, I have a whole bus full, right? So some mornings, if I'm running good, and I have about 15 minutes before I go drop them off at the schools, I kind of pull over to the side, put my flashers on, hit my parking brake, park my bus right there on a good safe side of the road, right? And I get up and walk through my bus and talk to my students as a whole and talk to them and speak to them about school and life in itself and the things that you want to do growing up, where you want to go in college, what you want to be, and just giving them some encouragement. Because a lot of them kids, they don't see a father figure at all. So I kind of take on the role and I enjoy with the school and driving bus and to get the chance to talk with these kids, and then they start opening up to you and seeing a male figure, even though I'm just a bus driver, but they see a male figure driving their bus. Just yesterday, I took my daughter to McDonald's. She wanted a McFlurry. I pull up to the window to pay for it, and one of my middle school students was at the window, which now he passed to the ninth grade, so he's going to ninth grade. I'll be taking him to the high school this year. But I saw him, and he was like, "Oh, Mr. Campbell, Mr. Campbell," and I said, "Son, you got a job at McDonald's, I see." He said, "Yes, sir." He said, "I'm going to the ninth grade, and you gonna be driving my bus this year?" I said, "Yes, sir. I plan to." He said, "I want to ride your bus." But that goes to show that they see a male figure, and it's something different that they're not accustomed to. And then to go back to what you were saying earlier, Tori, about some of the things that you say and do at home, the kids see that and they bring that stuff to the bus and they bring that stuff to the school. Some of the other bus drivers and uh, other drivers, they have kids and that don't have the teachings, and they get on their bus and bring everything they hear at home on the bus. And I'm talking like elementary kids. So if they're hearing profanity at home and bad language and cuss words and stuff like, they bring that on the bus. And I'm talking like third grade and fourth grade and these small kids on up. So they see and they adapt to everything that they learn from home. They bring it to the school bus, and they bring it in the schools. I tell everybody, I said, no child is bad. No child is bad. They just haven't been taught. So all my kids on my bus, they know.
Say that again.
My
Say
kids,
that
all
again.
my kids. I said, no child is bad. I don't believe in bad children. You know, we hear in the streets and people say, "Oh man, there's some bad kids, man." And how you drive bus? How you do that? I said it's the teaching. I said no child is bad, not at all. I don't believe in bad children. Yeah, we see stuff on the news, social media, these kids doing this, that, and the third, but they just don't have the teaching. If they have the teaching, they'll do better. So I have
Wow.
my kids every morning. They get on the bus. We speak to each other. Good morning, blah blah blah. When they get off the bus, I do the same thing. Y'all have a good day. I want to know how your grades look. I have kids to show me their grades and stuff when it's time for report cards and all that stuff. They got a C. I said, listen, you can do better. Push a little bit more and get that B for me. And they push hard. They work hard because I'm staying on them. And then they bring back with a B. And kids are not bad. They just learn what they see. And if they're being taught, they'll know to do better. But every morning I got a whole bus load, Tori, and you can hear a church mouse on my bus. Because they know from day one, this ain't the cussing bus. And number two, you're gonna respect each other. So I teach them about respect. So in order to get respect, you got to give respect. And so, yeah, that's all it is.
I
That's
love
all it
that.
is.
I love that. No, there are
Yeah.
no bad kids. It's about what they're taught, what they
No,
observe. I love
no
that.
bad kids. No bad kids. No bad kids. 78% of incarcerated men come from fatherless homes.
Mm,
78%. They weren't taught, Tori. As a child, that 78% wasn't taught in homes. You look at all these
wow.
school shootings and stuff, what they have for the past years. 90% of those school shooters come from fatherless homes. Did a study years ago over in Africa where they did with elephants, and the reservation was so small. They had too many elephants on one reservation, right? So what they did, Tori, they removed the male elephants and put them over to another piece of land and left the baby elephants along with the mother elephants, right? So over a period of time, they noticed that the the baby elephants were attacking the other animals, the rhinos or all the other animals, and they noticed that and said, "Wait a minute, something's wrong. Something's wrong." So what they did, they went back and got the male elephants and brought them back to the reservation where the children and the mothers, and they noticed that all the fighting of the animals and stuff stopped.
Wow.
What happened is that they found that when they removed the male elephants away from the families, these baby elephants had so much testosterone, they didn't know how to control it. So they was going around ripping up, tearing up, fighting, biting everything. They brought the male elephants back. It calmed all that down because they taught them.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's powerful. That's very powerful.
Yeah.
So I want to thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule, because I know you got other things lined up today. So I want to personally say to you and to all the fathers out there, happy Father's Day
Happy Father's Day.
And happy Father's Day to your father, Reverend Curtis.
Oh, thank you so much.
Happy Father's Day to my father, Matthew Bell. And I want to also shout out to all the fathers or men that has stepped up to the plate and helped me with my son.
There you go.
My brother, Gary, my pastor, Kelsey, brother Nadrian, brother Roger. I don't want to call too many names because I don't want to leave nobody out. But all the men that helped me with my son, even you, because my son reaches out to you as well. So I appreciate you all. I want to publicly acknowledge, all the amazing fathers. Like I said, the purpose today was to acknowledge the amazing fathers that step up to the plate, and even the ones that show up for children that they did not help create.
That's right.
I really appreciate that. Now, before me and Deon went live, this is my thought process.
Right.
I want to, but I need participation. So I need you guys to reach out to me. Now, today, our main focus was to focus on the amazing fathers that are out there. But I also want to talk to some men that grew up without their fathers. And I want to know how that had an impact on your life. Was it detrimental? Was it positive? Because, sometimes there is a blessing in the absence. So I want to talk to some men. So I want you guys to reach out to me. I also want to talk to some of the youth that grew up without their father.
Wow.
And some of the youth that grew up without their father feel as if, that scene in what's the God, I see Will Smith. What's the
Fresh Prince.
Fresh Prince. You remember that scene on Fresh Prince when he said, "What's wrong with me? My father didn't want me." I want to talk to the youth. So make sure you guys reach out to me. You can email me at faithisnecessary@gmail.com, or you can call or text me at 843-920-8124. Let me make sure that I'm giving out the right number because I don't know my own number. Let me find it. Don't do that. Okay, if you would like to be a guest on the Keep the Faith podcast, or like I said, I want some men to reach out to me. My email, faithisnecessary@gmail.com, or call and text 843-920-8124. I definitely want to do a part 2 and possibly a part 3. I definitely want to talk to some of the men that grew up without their father.
Right.
Because there's some that argue, well, how can, especially the ones that grew up without their father and now their fathers, sometimes I hear, well, how can I be something that I never witnessed?
Right.
And then there, on the flip side, there's some men that even though their father wasn't a part of their life, they end up being amazing fathers because they don't want their child to feel like they felt growing up.
Right.
So I hear some of the, I hear on the flip side, well, my daddy wasn't there. What was I supposed to do? But on the flip side, there's some that my daddy wasn't there, but I'm gonna be better. I'm gonna be better than my daddy.
Right.
I'm gonna show up for my child. I'm going to always be there. And here's the other thing. Now, thank you to you and all men that say, Tori, you're doing an amazing job. But here's the thing. This is what I want women to also not do. Now, Father's Day is for the fathers. I don't want it to, like, sometimes we use social media to bash fathers. That's something that I never did. I never said I'm the mama and the dad. That's something I never did. So Father's Day, my hat goes off to all the amazing fathers.
Right.
Now, on the flip side, after Father's Day, that's a conversation that we can have about the absent fathers. But on Father's Day, let's focus on the fathers that show up. Let's focus on the uncles that show up. Let's focus on the sons that show up. Let's focus on the grandfathers that show up. Don't use Father's Day as a day to bash the fathers that did not show up. So that's all I'm saying. I salute all the amazing fathers, but we're going to have a conversation about the ones that drop the ball, about the ones that don't feel like it's important to show up. Because even though in some cases you feel like you're hurting the mother, the child is the one that gets hurt the most.
The most.
And I'm actually going to have a conversation, but I want to salute, like I said, I want to salute you and all the amazing fathers. Thank you for showing up for your children. Thank you for setting the example. Thank you for being that positive role model. And like I said, not only to your daughter, but my son thinks highly of you as well. As a matter of fact, he's watching. My son watches, but he never comments. But he's watching because he looks up to you. So I also want to, he wants to. I just want to, like I said, salute all the amazing fathers. And I know it's not a popular opinion, but there are some amazing fathers. I don't want to take it as a day or the bash men. That's not what I want you guys to do. I want us to be able to uplift one another's. But at the same time, we're going to call out the ones that are not doing what they're supposed to do. But we're not going to do it on Father's Day. Okay?
Agreed.
Listen, I may be the only one to feel that way, but I salute the ones that are stepping up to the plate. So, like I said, I know you got other things to do. So thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule. Thank you once again for all you do with Man to Man, because I hear so many things about Man to Man. As a matter of fact, I've been hearing about, and I did not know this, but it's in different counties. I did not know that, because one time I clicked on something that came up on social media. I was like, I want to go to this event. And I was like, wait a minute. That's not in Florence. I wasn't aware it was in different areas. I was like, oh, that's so cool. That's so dope. But like I said, thank you so much for all that you do, because you do a lot. And matter of fact, I know some of your colleagues as well, because I want to say, I'm not sure if he's still with you, but Daniel does some amazing things too. Daniel Bladders.
Yep.
So happy Father's Day to Daniel Bladders as well, because he does.
He's at the office. Yep.
Yeah, he does some amazing things as well. And Les, that was on here earlier, salute to Les, because he's an amazing father as well. Like I said, I don't want to start dropping names because I don't want to miss anyone. Like, Tori, you ain't listen. All of you, I salute to all the amazing fathers that are doing what they're supposed to do. And with that being said, I'm going to let Mr. Campbell get back to his duties with Man to Man. And as I always say at the end of each podcast, whatever you go through in this thing called life, you may bend, but don't you dare break. Always remember to keep the faith. And we're out. You guys have a blessed afternoon and enjoy your Father's Day. Peace.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Peace. Thank you.